You're listening to the My Work, My Life show.
Brought to you by Edge Executive Search.
For more information, contact us on
www.edgeXEC.co.za now.
Hi, well, how exciting, our first show, My Work, My Life. Well, I'm Janice Wagner. This is Stefan Enslin from Edge Executive Search. So, Steph, why did we decide to get involved with an online radio show like this?
Look, I think, Jan, a lot of people have, I don't know if you actually realize, but work is probably the most important part of your life. It's all the biggest part of your life. Times are very different. A lot of people get retrenched. I don't know, you wake up one morning, you think, this is not where I want to be for the rest of my life, or I probably hate what I'm doing. And how am I going to go about changing it? As I said, things are very different, and we actually need to repackage ourselves. You can't go around doing things like we used to do them in the past. And over the next couple of months, we're actually going to touch on a number of career-related topics, which I think actually going to help you to put yourself out there and hopefully make you get the perfect job that you actually love getting up in the morning for.
In line with that thinking, our first guest today is Ryan Enslin of My Lime Boots.
Hello.
Hi, Ryan. I've known Ryan for a number of years now. We actually started out as chartered accountants.
Indeed, we did.
And he is now a very famous blogger.
Fashion and lifestyle, we say. Yes, indeed, Jan. You and I have known each other for way too long, longer than we could probably count with one pair of hands. But yeah, I started out as a chartered accountant. We studied together. And, things happened in my life and things changed. And I really, as Stefan was saying just now, looking to tap into understanding how to understand and to tap into the passion and what I was passionate about, and made a lifestyle change in my space.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm old, Ryan.
If you're old, then I'm old too.
Exactly.
So you're young and gorgeous.
I don't know what I have to say then.
Only about 3 months ago did I tap into this word blogging. What is blogging?
Jan, blogging is what we've always known in terms of old school magazines like Cosmopolitan, Men's Health, that type of thing, but it's taking that to a digital platform. So blogging is having a platform to speak, and it gives one a unique opportunity wherever you find yourself, gives you a unique opportunity to be able to position yourself in line with your passion. What are you passionate about? What do you want to have a say about? And blogging gives you that opportunity. It gives you a voice, gives you opportunity to create a unique voice that's unique to yourself. It gives you an opinion.
Now, obviously, I asked you to come to the show because I wanted to know: do you think blogging can help someone get a new job, repackage themselves? Do you think it's something relevant?
Definitely. The world we live in at the moment is changed from when you and I were younger. It's a social space now. So it's a space.
When we were younger, there wasn't even TV.
Well, we didn't even have internet in those days.
Oh, come on.
I think Henry Ford went to varsity with us, didn't he? So we communicate in a whole different way these days, and we have access to communication through social platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and blogging as well. So we're able to communicate and position ourselves accordingly. So if you're clever, you can take those platforms that are available and use them to position yourself in your career. And you can use it to position yourself for a new career, to enhance your existing career. They're just opportunities out there, and if you just apply your mind to them slightly, there's major opportunity for you, especially in repositioning yourself in your career.
But how do you think somebody can use blogging to make themselves more marketable? So if you take me as an example, I'm a recruiter, and if I want to be known as one of the well-known recruiters in South Africa, how would I go about that?
Well, you've got to play the long game. So you've got to, up front, you've got to decide what is your objectives, what is your unique value proposition. Because as much as you can bring 5 recruiters into a room here, your contemporaries, you've got to each differentiate yourself in the market in which you play. So that's what blogging and social space gives you. Gives you the opportunity to differentiate yourself by knowing what your unique value proposition is. So it's taking a person like both of you in a very professional environment and adding in that tone of voice, your unique personality into it, to position yourselves within the market space. So if you're in finance, if you're a CFO or you want to be CFO, it's being able to take that space and that desire and knowing where your strengths lie, and then position yourself accordingly by becoming a person of influence and a person with an opinion. You're standing out from the rest of the crowd by being able to talk along those lines and position yourself differently in the market space.
But where do I start?
Where do you start? You start by getting a blog. So what we need to do is we need to understand blogging and a blog. And a blog is nothing more than a website. So the word blog comes from weblog. When the internet was first discovered, people used to write up journals, which I called them weblogs, which now became blogs. A blog is a long form content. We have social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, which are short form content. So what you need to do is you need to find yourself a position. So you decide on a blog name, what you want to call yourself, how you want to identify yourself, register yourself a blog with a platform like WordPress, which is free. You can get designs which are called themes for free. You can register your domain name for I think about $10-20. It's really affordable. Get it going. My best advice is to find someone who can help you with the technical sides of things, because I'm not a computer person.
No.
And there are people who are computer people and they can help you with that. Get the blog going, get all the technical things set up. Once you've got it set up technically, and even that you can do yourself, it's not that impossible.
No,
then you've got I'll show you. Then you've got the platform to go and post your blogs and to start blogging.
Okay, Ryan, we touched on you mentioned earlier, I'm a financial manager, I want to probably become a CFO. From a career point of view, how is blogging going to help me to get to that point?
Steph, it all comes back to positioning. So it's deciding what makes blogging unique from the old traditional print media is that you've got your personality to infuse into what you're writing about. So it's defining what your unique value proposition is. So for instance, if you're a CA or you're a finance person and you deal in international tax as an example, it's then deciding what element of that really touches your heart. What are you really passionate about? If you can find what you're passionate about and then write about that, and that can be on a professional space, it can be on the space that I occupy, which is lifestyle, finding that and then writing and becoming a person of authority in that space, that positions you. So people then say, well, you're on a career path to CFO, or maybe you're CFO, you wanting promotion to a different level. Doing it now, are you not sort of peaking too much of a big game up front? But no, I say again, you're playing for the long game. You've got values, you've got a plan in place that you want to put, what you want to achieve, and you need to start activating on these things now. Start positioning yourself now. Understand who works in the space, who does something similar, who's doing what you want to be doing in 6 months' time, a year's time. Get to know them, understand what they do, see what they do. I'm definitely not saying copy. I'm not saying you should go and copy what someone does, but have a look and see what they're doing, understand their unique take, then infuse that stiffness into it to make it unique.
I think, but one of my biggest fears, and I think a lot of people's are that you're actually putting yourself out there. That's quite daunting, and you don't want to come across as being stupid.
No, it is very daunting. I remember my first blog post took me about 4 months to write. But some of the best advice I ever got was, when it comes to blogging and social media in general, is just do it. Plan for a point, and we're all professional people. I think we're speaking to professional people. We can plan and never get anywhere and lose the opportunity. I think what you need to do is you need to plan to a certain point that you're comfortable, and then you just need to start. You need to go write that first blog post. You need to put your title image in as you think you can best do at that point in time. Capture it with SEO and headlines and things like that. And if that's wrong, or you can do it better next time, you learn from the next time as you go along. So the key is just to get started.
I think that's my problem. I mean, obviously, I started blogging now 3 months ago when I realized this is the way of the future. And I'm always like, but how perfect does it have to be before I actually post it?
It's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be an article in the Business Day or something like that. It's meant to have a level of authenticity to it. And I think by not being perfect, it gives you that level of authenticity. I'm not saying that, especially in a professional environment, I'm not saying that your facts need to be, that they have to be correct. Your fundamentals need to be correct. But you need to infuse that element of your character, and you're never going to write a perfect blog post, to be honest. So trying to achieve that objective is something you'll never achieve.
Brilliant. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Where do I post a blog?
Okay, so you post the blog on a blog site, which is like a website. So as we discussed just now, you go and you register on a platform like WordPress. WordPress is not the only platform, but you get yourself a blog space, which is basically a website. So you get that, and then once it's all set up, we spoke about the technicalities just now, you have what you call your back end, and that's like a word processor. You go in there and you type and you put your pictures and you put whatever you need to put in there, video if you're doing video as well. That's how you go about doing it. But at the same time, blogging sits alongside things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So we're using all these different platforms to speak one message. So your blog is long form content. So you're putting your full argument, your full article out there. Then elements of that you're taking, putting them into Twitter, you're putting them into Facebook to drive traffic back to your blog. But they all sit next to each other. So it's understanding the different platforms, making sure you're registered on all those platforms, trying to be consistent in your brand name amongst those platforms, and then having everything work together as a cohesive unit, that they're speaking, you're driving traffic back to your blog post the whole time from these snippets of information that are going out on the short form platforms.
So, I mean, if I am now a finance manager, obviously I'm not just writing blogs, I'm obviously looking at other people's blogs or commenting. What's the best way to get ahead? Who should I be looking at?
And who should you be looking at? You should be looking at people that are doing it already.
Yes.
So you should be looking in different segments of the market. You should be looking at people who are doing it already, your contemporaries. You should also be looking at your service providers. So those are your people like Business Day, maybe someone like Bruce Whitfield, following him, engaging with him, having a look and seeing what they're doing, engaging with them, talking to him now. Even though you maybe only have 5 followers on Twitter, start speaking to him, like his post, send him a comment back saying, Bruce, interesting take on the latest VAT legislation I think the following, whatever it may be. Engage with them. That's how you get yourself out there. Blogging and social media is a two-way street. Social media is a definite two-way street. You can't be putting content out there in blogs and on social platforms but not giving back. You can't just out. You've got to talk to people, engage both ways. That's how you build credibility. That's how you build reputation. So that's what I would suggest you do. Engage with people who are doing things that you want to be doing. Engage with them, build a reputation with them, and then suggest collaborations to them. Have a look and see what's happening seasonality. Maybe it's time, it's budget speech time. Get hold of Bruce or Business Day or whatever it may be and say, let's do this. Here's a unique angle that I've got on something we can discuss on the budget speech coming up. I've found the more you ask, the less likely you are to get a no. If you never ask, it's always going to be no.
But it probably gets better with experience. I mean, I think your first blog must be very, very daunting and scary.
It is very daunting because it's something so new to you. But again, that's why you've got to be writing something that you're passionate about. So you've got to find your niche. You can't just be writing for the sake of, yes, people are getting into business blogging, I need to do that now. If that's going to be your approach, you're going to find 700 words are going to be like a mountain in front of you. So you've got to get to a space where you've almost got to cut it back because you're writing about something you're passionate about. And in writing what you're passionate about, you find a unique angle on the topic or whatever's being promoted in your blog post. But that is what it is. That is what blogging and social media these days, it's personal. It's about people understanding who and what you are and infusing that personal element into it. People can smell inauthentic people and content from a mile away.
You said 700 words.
Yeah.
Is that the number that we aim for?
I would say maximum 1,000.
Sure.
I wrote a series of 3 blog posts. They came out 1,300 words. Depends where your content is taking you. Depends how meaty it is. If it's relatively small, I wrote one this morning. They went up at about 320 words, where it was more visually driven and video driven. I would look between 600 and 700. However, I wouldn't stop my writing at that point. If there's still more that needs to be said, then more needs to be said. I find the best approach to writing a blog is I will spend most of an afternoon writing it, then I'll leave it for the evening. I'll get up and I'll read it the next morning again fresh, and then I'll edit it again. It goes through various revisions before it comes out that final one. But you can't just write a blog post in one day. You need to have that time to process and think about and come back to in a different frame of mind to edit. And then the words that flow from there are the words that flow from there. If it's 700, it's 700. If it's 1,300, then it's 1,300. But with social media these days, people's content attention span is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller.
100%.
So 1,300 words is way too long.
100%. You know what I'm struggling with, and maybe you guys are as well. When I started doing the blogging, I wasn't sure how much to give away of really my other side of my life.
The personal side.
My personal side. I have one business persona, and then I have my private life, where I'm probably a little bit obsessed with sports and all of that. Now,
Never say.
now, how much of that can I let into this open space?
Again, Jan, it's dependent on your tone of voice that you're taking as a blogger. So it depends on the space that you work in. So I work in a very lifestyle-orientated space. Naturally, what I write about needs to flow from what I would do in my life anyway. So in many instances, the content that I write about is what I have been doing. I went away this weekend and did this. You and I went to Cape Town and we wrote about that, as opposed to a trip to Cape Town. That's boring. But my friend Jen and I going out to Cape Town, going to this event and that event, that's got way more story and interest to it. Even in a professional space, I know we're talking mainly to a professional audience this afternoon, but still you need that element of your personal life does need to flow. You need to look like a real person. Having said that, you've got to decide where the line is drawn. So in a professional environment, less of your personal life is probably relevant. And then you've got to manage those profiles. You've got to make sure that what's coming through and what's going up is in line. Again, we speak the long game, what your value proposition is, that what you're posting, retweeting, liking on is in line with your value proposition. It all ties in together because it is a marketing exercise at the end of the day.
Look, I think everyone loves success stories. So sharing experiences for me is quite important. Those make it
Very
interesting.
much so.
That makes it very interesting
Yeah.
for me to read a blog.
Yeah. And that's what brings people coming back,
Yeah.
Steph. It's not like being on Instagram where people subscribe to your account and every time you post it just sends out information to them. Every time I put up a blog post, I've got to grab you and say, Steph, come and read this. You don't automatically come back to the blog, and that's why these other platforms, these other social platforms are important to drive traffic back that way.
Okay, but now my biggest problem is I've got probably 10 followers.
Okay, 10 followers is a good number. Have you lined 10 people up down the outside of your house and seen how long that is?
I mean, how does one get followers? I mean, I'm talking all mediums
All
now,
platforms.
like all platforms. That's the word.
Yes.
LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, is there a difference between each of the platforms? I mean,
There is a difference between each of the platforms, and I think what you need to do is you need to understand right at the beginning, in line with your value proposition, what each platform is meant for and how you can best optimize each platform. So for me, Twitter is like a newspaper. It's so small bits and pieces of info, like the front page with those bits of things running down the side there. It's bits of information that come out like this. Instagram is like a photo album. It's what I've done and it's communicating in visual. So if you had a nice picture when you're down in Cape Town by the sea, you stick that picture up. People can relate to that. People don't read. When I first started on Instagram, I used to write these long posts underneath my pictures, but nobody read them. You know, the people are attracted by the visual. Facebook is more of a medium length content. You can go into a little bit more detail than Twitter, and then obviously your blog is full length, is long format. But in terms of building an audience, number one, the thing you never ever do is buy followers. There's many of these sites that for $50 you can get 500 followers. That's an absolute waste of your money. If people that if you're wanting to build a following to engage with other clients, if they're judging you purely on your following, they're the wrong people to engage with and they don't understand social media. Buying followers never works. Those followers are dead. They're computers in someone's office somewhere that have just pressed like to your account. They never engage with you. They never like your post. They never give comments back. You want real followers. You want real people that can look at your picture of what you did last weekend and say, yes, oh, I like that. I remember I've been to that place before. That's engagement. That's what you want. That's what makes you successful on social media. Bought followers never give you that. How do you build following? It's a long process, to be honest. If you're not going to buy followers, which I suggest you don't, it is a long process. It comes back to authenticity, and that's why when we started the conversation, I said you need to engage with people. Speak to Bruce. Tell him you like what he said. Follow Business Day's online account. Retweet their content. Become known to these people. Become a presence in that space. That's number one. Number two is to put out good quality content. To put out content, and especially on Twitter, when I write a tweet, I'm always thinking, is this tweet retweet worthy? So if somebody else reads this tweet, are they going to retweet it? So the fact that I pulled over a KFC on the way home for lunch, no one's interested in that. That's what I did. Wonderful. But no one's interested in retweeting that. By putting up a tweet about coming with you guys this morning on the radio, there's something that's of interest because we're talking on social media. So you structure your tweet accordingly. So yeah, that's how you build a following, by correct engagement, constant engagement, and genuine two-way traffic.
I must say I found this whole blogging thing very interesting over the past 3 months. I've actually even taken to putting people's personal blogs, if they're professional, onto their CVs.
It's a very good idea.
And I've really got very positive feedback from that. In the old days, how we did business is all relationship based. But what I'm learning is blogging builds a different form of relationships as well.
That's an important point. Sorry, I've
Yes, no.
It's an important point that you raised there. Blogging is a different form of relationship, but it doesn't replace traditional relationships.
Yes.
So you can't now suddenly hibernate in your home and engage on social media like the biggest social diva, but not actually going out. So you still need to get involved with people that do that do professional events. So if, for instance, you're a CA and you're going to a tax breakfast, you need to go there, talk to people, look them in the eye, exchange business cards, and engage on that level. That is supplemented then by the social space. So it's important to keep doing the same. Again, social just brings that personal element.
I still think that both elements could be used to help you find a new role. Because yes, executive headhunters, yes, we help you find a role, but a lot of people find roles through their own networks. So it's relationship building on two different elements here.
And I think what a lot of people forget as well is prospective employers look at social media these
Yes.
days.
Very much
It's got a very big focus.
Mm.
Facebook, one of those things. What you put out there is actually the perception of
you.
what you're going to be.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. Putting stuff up on social media is just another channel, and it's opening your networks even larger. So yes, you can be old school and say no, social media is for the youngsters and ignore that and only do traditional ways. You just stabbing yourself in the foot because you just limiting yourself to so many exposures.
Are you saying that my clients are only going to be 40 and over?
Well, I must be honest, man, I go to some of my functions, they all 20. I got invited to a 21st the other day. I'm like, dude, I could be your father.
So, I mean, obviously, putting yourself out there, writing a blog, it can't all be positive.
No, you've got to be real. You've got to understand what you're trying to achieve. You've got to be honest. People don't want to hear. I do a lot of travel, so some days are hard, some days are tough, and some days are hot. I was just in the Cape Winelands. It was so hot, carting all my equipment around, trying to get the right shot. People don't want to hear that side of it. That's not interesting. They want to see the nice shot of the car driving past in the Winelands. I think you've got to be honest. So I'm certainly not saying you should lie, but you've got to speak the right story. You've got to speak an honest story that speaks into what you're looking for.
But what about criticism? How do you take criticism?
I think criticism is not a bad thing. One thing you've got to understand in the social space is that you're putting an opinion out there. Even if you're writing within a professional space, you're putting an opinion out there. And as much as you want people to read your opinion, I think you've got to respect other people's opinions back. What I do when I get criticism, and I get a fair amount, is I have a look, I read, see what they're saying. Often we'll just embrace what they're saying and say, I respect your opinion and I respect your right. If they're abusive, I block them. I had someone who was very abusive to me on Twitter the other day because she felt she'd been conned out of a spa voucher or something like that. I'm like, lady, calm down. But I think I always take them as opportunities for growth, and I think, you've got to just understand what it is. Social media does, unfortunately, give that space for people to become quite vocal and attack you sometimes. It's harder when I look you in the eye to say something to you than send you a quick tweet and tell you what I really think of you.
Yeah. Look, I think especially if you look in the professional space and in the technical space, you're probably going to get that.
Sure.
And you just got to be careful that doesn't stop you from stopping blogging completely.
No, sure. I think you should always look. It's like any lesson in life, Steph. I think you should look and see what has been said. Is there something for you that you need to learn from that experience? Is their point valid, number one? Maybe you have fluffed up a little bit there. Then you need to take that to heart and just, restructure things differently the next time. But I think, again, come back to long game. There's a value proposition, there's an objective we're working towards. So even if you have a different opinion from me on my blog post, I can say, yes, Steph, I respect that. I see what you're saying. However, I know that's where I'm going. I respect that that's where you are.
So Ryan,
Okay.
how many times do we blog? Do we blog every day?
Depends what you're blogging about. In the professional space, I certainly wouldn't be blogging every day. Blog posts take a long time to prepare. I mean, a blog post takes anything from 8 to 12 hours to prepare, just in putting it all together.
Clearly, I'm doing
video.
mine wrong because mine are taking a couple of minutes.
Okay. Mine took a couple of minutes too if you measure them in minutes. No, I think you've got to find that rhythm. You've got to find your voice. You've got to find what it is that you want to speak about. You've got to speak authentically. So you can't be speaking too frequently about too many hectic topics, because then people look at you and think you're all over the place. Now you're talking about this, then tomorrow you're talking about that, then the next day you're talking about whatever, international tax. You've got to find what you're passionate about, and if something doesn't grab you as a passion, don't write about it. So don't write for the sake of writing. Write because it's what you have an opinion on, and it's what you enjoy talking about, and then your flow will come from there. I try to post twice a week. Sometimes I get that right. Sometimes I post 5 times a week, depending on the schedule. Sometimes I don't post at all. Consistency in social media and blogging is important. However, the quality of what you're putting out there is one step above the consistency. So if you feel this week, if you I schedule my first blog post in the week, comes out on a Tuesday. If you feel that you don't have the right material to put out this week, then I wouldn't post this week. But again, I think it's a confidence issue, which Steph raised earlier. The more you do it, the more you get into it, the more you are confident in yourself to know when to post, what to post about, and when not to post.
I mean, I think you've done quite well.
Thank you.
You've had an impact on the market. Within 2 years, you'd won your first award as a blogger.
Yes, the runner-up Best Fashion Blog 2015.
A podium's a podium in my world. But how long would it take, for example, Steph, to have an impact on the market?
To have an impact on the market, it depends on in the field that you play. But generally, after 2 years, you should be able to build a fair-sized traction. Like I said, when you're not buying followers, it does take time to build that traction. And often what I do with clients when I do collaborations, I go to them and I propose this and I propose that. And sometimes I get so frustrated because I think I can see the value, just come and do it now. And then I realize, well, I've been doing blogging for 6 months. You've got to just serve your time. And in my mind, 2 years is a good period. You would have settled into a voice, you would have settled into a writing rhythm and pattern by then. And once you get that right and you're engaging, it becomes a way of life now. My engaging on Twitter, on Instagram and Facebook is so much a part of my life. It's natural. It's like breathing. I don't think I've got to do this and that now. Once you've got all those little building blocks, those are your fundamentals in place, then the audience growth comes, then the people acknowledging you and wanting to work with you. You've proven yourself, or started to prove yourself. So that, in my mind, rule of thumb is about 2 years.
Brilliant.
Sure. I think there's a big start waiting for us.
Yes. But I mean, Steph, the reason we decided to do this as our first show is we started seeing that people needed to repackage themselves and become experts in a field. Especially when we're looking at when clients are asking us, who are the top 27 CIOs in the country or whatever.
True.
You're really we're finding that blogging is having a huge impact on the market.
I think what we find as well from a recruiter point of view, what sets you apart from the guy next to you?
Yes.
And you need to actually get that difference that actually makes you more marketable than the guy next to you.
And that's what social media / blogging can do. You can position yourself in the market. You can differentiate yourself from your peers. But it's not a 6-month game. It's a long-term game. It's a medium to long-term game. But definitely worthwhile, because once you've differentiated yourself in that way, it's a hard gap for others to fill and make up.
I think this is a topic we can actually have another discussion about. So.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
And Myline Boots.
There we go. They're not with me today, but yes, they're there.
Great.
You have been listening to the My Work, My Life show on brandlife.co.za.
Proudly brought to you by Edge Executive Search.
Visit Edge Executive Search on
www.edgexec.co.za now
for more opportunities, events, and
and
our latest podcasts.